beneath the autumn sky. The town of Elmswood was always quiet in the fall, with its golden leaves dancing in the breeze and chimneys puffing gentle wisps of smoke into the sky. For years, it had been home to Evelyn Hart, a 28-year-old florist who ran the quaint little shop called Petal and Pine. Her life was a rhythm of early mornings, fragrant bouquets, and handwritten notes from lovers she never met. Evelyn believed in love, but only from a distance. Her own heart had been quietly tucked away after a heartbreak in her early 20s. She smiled at weddings she arranged flowers for, cried during romantic movies, and kept a collection of unsent love letters hidden in a wooden box beneath her bed. Then came Adrian Blake. He walked into her shop on the first Tuesday of October, just as the sun broke through the clouds. Tall, with a kind gaze and a voice that sounded like warmth, he was looking for a bouquet for his sister's birthday. But there was something else in his eyes. An old sadness, perhaps, or maybe a familiar kind of loneliness. Evelyn helped him choose a bouquet of sunflowers and chrysanthemums, and as he left, he smiled at her like they were old friends who had simply forgotten each other's names. From that day on, Adrian returned every Tuesday. Sometimes he bought flowers, sometimes just a cup of coffee from the bakery next door that he'd share with Evelyn at her counter. They talked about books, autumn skies, the strange beauty of silence, and the ache of missing someone you never really knew how to hold. Evelyn found herself looking forward to Tuesdays like they were the start of a new chapter. One evening, as the town was bathed in the golden light of a late autumn sunset, Adrian asked, "Have you ever fallen in love through conversation alone?" Evelyn paused, petals in her hand, heart skipping a beat. "I think I'm beginning to." And just like that, something shifted. They began spending more time together. Walks through the forest trails, movie nights in Evelyn's small apartment, spontaneous road trips to nowhere. He shared stories of his mother who passed away too soon, the novel he never finished writing, and the way he used to believe in fate before the world became too heavy. And Evelyn, for the first time in years, let someone in. But love, as always, is never without its storms. In December, Adrian received an offer, an opportunity to teach literature in Italy for a year. It was everything he had ever wanted. And it came with a choice. "I don't want to leave," he told her, snow falling around them as they stood outside the shop. "But I also don't want to look back and wonder." Evelyn's eyes glistened, her voice soft. "Then go. Live your chapter. I'll be here, writing mine." They kissed for the first time that night, beneath a sky full of stars and a quiet promise of return. A year passed. Evelyn kept running her shop. Tuesdays were quieter. She still wrote letters, this time, ones she sent. And Adrian sent stories, pictures, poems, and every now and then, a pressed flower from a field in Tuscany. Then, one crisp autumn morning, just as the leaves turned gold again, he walked back into Petal and Pine. He didn't bring flowers. Just a suitcase, a manuscript, and the same smile that had once melted through the walls she'd built. "I came back," he whispered, "because no story I ever wrote was as beautiful as the one we started." Evelyn stepped forward, took his hand, and smiled. "Then let's keep writing." Beneath the starlit bridge. In the heart of Kyoto, where ancient temples whispered forgotten tales and cherry blossoms danced in spring air, lived a young woman named Aiko. She was a quiet soul, an artist who spent her days sketching the world around her, trying to capture fleeting emotions with every pencil stroke. Her favorite spot was an old bridge that stretched across the Como River, especially at night, when lanterns glowed and the stars reflected in the rippling water. One evening, as Aiko was drawing the moonlight's reflection, a soft male voice broke the silence. "Mind if I sit here?" She looked up and saw a young man with gentle eyes and a violin case in his hand. His name was Ren, a traveling musician who had been performing in small cafes around the city. Something about him felt familiar, like a half-remembered melody. She nodded, and he sat beside her, opening his case and pulling out the violin. "Want to hear something?" And he played. It was a simple tune, but in that moment, it felt like the world had paused to listen. The wind stopped, the river slowed, and Aiko forgot everything except the sound of the violin. When he finished, they sat in silence, watching the stars. From that night on, they met often, on that same bridge, beneath the same stars. Ren would play, and Aiko would draw. She sketched him in secret, each picture capturing a different emotion: his smile, the way he looked at the sky, the sorrow behind his eyes. Weeks turned to months. Seasons changed. Their bond deepened, not through grand gestures, but through quiet moments shared under the night sky. One night, Aiko finally asked, "Why do your songs always sound a little sad?" Ren hesitated. "Because I never stay in one place too long. My father was a traveling musician too. I guess I inherited the wandering. But lately," he looked at her. "I wish I could stay." Aiko felt her heart flutter. "Then stay." But the next morning, he was gone. No note. No goodbye. Just silence. Heartbroken, Aiko stopped going to the bridge. Her drawings lost their spark. The city felt louder, colder. Yet, every night, she looked at the stars and wondered if he was out there, still playing, still thinking of her. Years passed. Aiko held an art exhibition, the first of her career. The final painting was of the bridge under starlight. In the corner, barely visible, was the outline of a man with a violin. As the gallery filled with visitors, she noticed a figure lingering in front of that painting. Her breath caught. Ren. Older, but still the same. His eyes met hers, and in them, she saw everything: regret, longing, hope. "I kept the drawing you gave me," he said softly. "It's traveled with me everywhere." She didn't speak, just walked up and took his hand. They returned to the bridge that night. He played. She drew. And this time, he stayed.